Although Dave Meltzer is one of the most respected professional wrestling journalists, he can often get on the bad side of wrestling fans and professional wrestlers themselves with his opinions, his match ratings, and his exposing of a business. I have collected 10 wrestlers that have buried Dave Meltzer over the years.
10.
Ole Anderson let out his thoughts and his opinions on Dave Meltzer in an interview a few years ago. Needless to say, Ole was not the biggest fan of Dave Meltzer, and he's still not to this day. I'll let Anderson take it away from himself.
When did you
You should
basically...
have been a booker.
What?
You should have been a booker.
Okay, all right.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know everything about it.
Never-
You should have been very successful.
Not in this era.
You're the most knowledgeable person I've talked to, almost in my life. Next time Vern calls me, I'm going to tell him to go shut up. I don't want to talk to him anymore. I'm going to talk to Dave Meltzer.
All right.
Listen, you know, it's just impossible to talk to you.
Okay.
You're like an awful lot of people that I've known in my lifetime, and I guess I must be like some people you've known.
Yeah.
I did it, and you wish you could.
9.
Al Snow gave his take on Big Dave Meltzer in an interview when asked about wrestling journalists. He gave his opinion, and one that many people agree with. Listen for yourself.
Dave Meltzer, who is without a doubt the greatest worker ever in the history of the wrestling business. Worker meaning connotation that he's a con man. To be able to put over a con, a fake, a lie, is that he has been able to make six-figure incomes off a business that most people can't even derive a living off of, and have been able to do it for years off a business he's never done. He's entitled to his opinion, certainly. You pay your money to buy a ticket, you're certainly entitled to your opinion. But when you've never, ever, not taken a bump or done something physically, but you've never done it to where you now have to rely on what your actions do to be able to feed your family, how do you have the experience to quantify you as an expert? If you broke your leg right today, heaven forbid, would you go to the doctor and tell the doctor how to fix your leg?
Tell him how?
Yeah,
No.
why not? 'Cause you're not a fucking doctor. They are more than welcome to have their opinion, then they are entitled to it. Absolutely. Absolutely, totally entitled to it, completely. Does that make them have an understanding and a grasp of it more than a person who has had the actual experience of doing it? Certainly not.
8.
Bruce Prichard is next in the list to give his take on Dave Meltzer and wrestling journalists. Let's see what Bruce Prichard had to say about Dave.
The issue I have with the wrestling media, if you will, is that they have no credibility. They will report rumors or just make shit up as fact. And then when it doesn't happen their way, they'll say, oh, well, they changed their plans. When the people that are in the know that are actually doing it are sitting there going, no, that never was a plan. No, really, they changed their mind.
7.
Jerry Lawler made it very clear that he is not the biggest fan of Dave Meltzer, and he did so in an interview when asked about Meltzer. Let's see what he had to say, although he did refer to name calling.
Shortly. How does WWE / the Superstars Wrestling view the dirt sheets / wrestling quote unquote journalists like Dave Meltzer and whatnot?
Yeah, they're not fond of them, as you can imagine. And I think probably the reason they're not fond of them is because when those guys get the information that they get, which is always inside information that spoils the fun of what somebody is in the WWE is trying to put out there for the fans. That what the WWE has to realize is there's somebody, some rat, some mole on the inside that's working, that's on the payroll for the WWE that is giving the information to these guys. I mean, to these dirt sheets and to these Meltzers and guys like that. That's the only way that they can get that information. And so that's frustrating, and that's hard to deal with, and that's that would make anybody upset. If you and I were sitting down and for weeks writing some kind of a script for a movie or a TV show or something like that, and then it's going to be a big surprise to the public, and then I find out that, or you go out and leak it out to somebody that writes it, that puts it in a newspaper article, and so that everybody can see it before it comes out. It just spoils the fun of everything, and I'd be really disappointed in you if you leak that information out. And that's what goes on with these dirt sheet guys. They're just there as I've never understood their purpose. They're really 99% of them are people who are not athletes, have never been in the business. They can't really respect the business or even like the business of wrestling. Or they wouldn't do that, I mean, we all know it's entertainment, and when you're watching a TV show or a movie, and you just start watching it, if somebody comes along and tells you how it ends or what's going to happen in the show before it happens, that's spoiling it for you, right?
Yeah. I
mean, that's why they call it spoilers, and that's all these guys are about. That's what they live to do, and I never could understand them, and I never liked him or had respect for him.
Would you call Meltzer a little dweeb? Is that what you said earlier?
Yeah.
So you don't like Meltzer at all, or just?
No, not at all. But I'm never around him. I never see him or talk to him or anything. But I just don't like what he does.
But somebody has to be talking. I mean, has WWE ever done some stuff to find out who the leak is? Do they really care about that kind of stuff? Or
well, yeah, they care about it. Sure, they do. But it's. I guess when you got so many people working for you, it's hard to find who does that stuff. But then then I don't know. Then I think JR has done shows with Meltzer.
Yeah.
6.
Jesse Ventura. Jesse Ventura is known as a wrestling conspiracy theorist, but there's no conspiracy of the fact that he simply does not like Dave Meltzer. Take it away, Jesse.
Dave Meltzer, guys like that.
What the hell does Meltzer know, a little puke?
5.
Many years ago, a story broke about Marty Jannetty and his troubles with the WWE. So Marty Jannetty sent out a following to a website and asked to pass it on to other wrestling journalists regarding his troubles with the WWE. Marty Jannetty said, for the WrestlingObserver.com, Dave Meltzer and or whoever else may be responsible. You guys have an easy-ass job. Report what you can't do yourselves, but wish you could. Now, with all the legit craziness of the wrestling world, it seems you wouldn't have to stoop to writing and putting our info to your faithful readers, but you have not researched and have no idea on validity. He went on to say, but of course, reporting the truth isn't what you are about now, is it? Any opportunity to bash anything or anyone in wrestling is paramount to you. It doesn't really shock me that you have done this with me, as I've seen your garbage quite a bit over the years. Since it has not included me, I just shook my head in disgust and disbelief that you parasites exist at all. Take away this industry that you love to bash at any opportunity, legit or not, and you would become poor. Sorry, sap, street bums with no job. With that being the truth, one would think you would show a little more respect to what pays for your trailer house rent and TV dinners. But again, nothing surprises me out of you fools. I just wonder, do you feel like the idiot you are every time one of your ridiculous stories is proven false? Or are you too busy working on your next bullshit story to worry about how stupid you look? Yikes.
4.
Earlier this year it became apparent that Baron Corbin was not a big fan of Dave Meltzer or his journalist skills. This became apparent when the two took shots on each other on Twitter. Former Mr. Money in the Bank, Baron Corbin, posted on Twitter a few weeks ago about Dave Meltzer, and they weren't the kindest of words. Baron Corbin posted a series of replies to others on Twitter about Dave Meltzer. He said, what matches and promos has Dave Meltzer done? Oh, none. He is an old man who could never do what anyone on the roster can or could. Not at all, but you can't comment on the actor's ability unless you have done it before or at least tried. He said, respected by who? Losers like you with a profile pic in a high school gym indie show. Meltzer replied to Corbin on Twitter, saying, "Nothing says that you're like a wrestler," doing the "you never took a bump and then blocked you" comeback. Corbin then replied back to Meltzer, saying, "You were blocked while I was in NXT. Now you're free to say whatever you want to me." So we do know that this did get Baron Corbin in trouble, but he didn't hold back when it came to saying he does not like Dave Meltzer in the slightest.
3.
Kevin Nash made it very clear that he is not a fan of Dave Meltzer or him exposing the business. He took several digs at the wrestling journalist and even mentioned his wife. Although it is funny, let's see what he has to say.
Writers and dirt sheet guys, were they your critics?
No, I didn't care. Like I always said, if all those guys are such great wrestling minds, I mean, anybody can Monday quarterback. I just always thought that, if you're so brilliant, why have you not, Meltzer, why have you not booked it for a major? Those sheets had a lot of, dud. And it was every year it was like match of the year, Abu Zago versus Naposeno in the Carokian Hall. Like, yeah, right. You fucking saw it when? You saw it from fucking Oakland? Fuck you. Telescope, fucking Hubble.
San Jose.
Is that where he's from?
Near there, right?
Yeah, fuck him. I never liked him, never will. How's your life, buddy? Bet you ain't better than mine.
Oof.
2.
Dusty Rhodes, in an interview many years ago, gave his opinion on Dave Meltzer and what he thought about wrestling journalists. It's very valid what he had to say. Listen for yourself.
This guy Meltzer is so knowledgeable of this industry. Why has he not opened his own territory, ran his own business? Because the first thing he would do would put himself on top, make himself the champion, and everybody on the net would hate his fucking ass.
1.
The Undertaker. Now you know it's bad when The Undertaker has a problem with you, but The Undertaker gave his thoughts on wrestling journalists and pretty much them killing the wrestling business. You've got to hear it for yourself, because when you piss The Undertaker off, you're doing something wrong.
Guys, unfortunately, listen to the people on the internet, who the so-called, the so-called experts who've never laced up a pair of boots.
Good or bad, the internet?
The ones that call themselves experts and, and have all these, the cures for the ailments of our business. You know what? I think they're a big joke. And the people that buy into this, they're only smart because of what we let them be smart too. But you listen to them and they've got all the answers, and this guy needs to be pushed and this guy needs to go. Undertaker needs to retire 10 years ago. You know what? I kind of think it's funny. They forgot that they're fans, and that's all they are fans.